Hi guys, I'm weather analyst Andrew Fleck for the GMAD local weather area discussion for June 16th today on your Wednesday for the Lehigh Valley area. Today there's going to be a few things interesting happening today. The area is under a slight risk of severe weather. If you look out your window this morning, this afternoon, there's a few clouds, but that also can indicate a lot of moisture as well, and that can also create some instability. This tells me that looking on radar back over the western parts of Pennsylvania and the western states, from here we have a few areas that have some storms already popping with not even it being noon. This tells me that a jet, surface and upper level jet, can be working to firing these storms up, and when that happens, it's more of a jet streak or jet stream type of weather event, severe weather event, should I say more so. And what that can create is some very intense lines, squall lines, with some damaging winds. So that's what we're going to have to watch today over the Lehigh Valley. But let's go a little bit into what the model has been kind of hinting on so far today that we've kind of looked at. And this is all due to a low pressure, an upper level low pressure up here across eastern Michigan. And with that, this area in here seems to be in quite a very interesting area to be having these millibars that are very tight and close to each other, indicating to me that there's probably a strong surface jet that's pushing from the southwest to the northeast. So a lot of energy is in there, and what we do think that is there's going to be some moisture behind this that's going to then find its way sooner or later into this area, and that's when you're probably, like I said, the linear type of storms are going to form, the lines are going to form, and they're going to move from west to east. They're going to affect probably into the afternoon, the early evening time, into the central Pennsylvania vicinities, and later into the evening time, eastern Pennsylvania would then see that. So it's going to be a pretty interesting setup for the areas of Pennsylvania, the Lehigh Valley, and there's a little more I want to talk about this with, and then I'll leave it at that. The next imagery here is now into the afternoon, and what I was talking about on the last imagery here is we have a heck of a flow coming from the southwest to the northeast here. These millibars are very tight, these bars here. And what's going to happen on the next slide is there's going to be moisture, like I said, and you're probably going to get a line or a few lines forming in this area here toward the afternoon. Okay, and then looking at the millibars here, they're kind of forcing to the northeast, and with the trough being back here, there's going to be a lot of firing up in this area here, and this is where the storms are mainly going to start. Then later on into the afternoon, into the early evening, later evening time, this is when we then see the storm at its worst. It's going to be affecting the central Pennsylvania areas, the eastern Pennsylvania areas, with a pretty interesting squall line with some thunderstorms, some hail. An isolated tornado would be possible out there. I never like to say that word, but in situations like this, it's always possible. And of course, I think the worst of it is going to be wind damage with these linear storms that are forming. So just got to give you guys a heads up on that. We are talking about a slight risk of severe for your June 16th, 2010 day on Wednesday. Central Pennsylvania will be looking at the afternoon and early evening hours. Eastern Pennsylvania will be looking at the later evening hours into the nighttime, closer to dark hours. So just to give you guys a heads up, stay safe. If a watch is issued for your area, keep your eye to the sky. If a warning is issued, head into shelter for where it's safer. So have a good one, guys, and stay safe.